welcome to Mastermuse, Shannon Dooks. I am so happy to have you here today.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
How are we feeling today? What's the mood, the vibe?
Feeling pretty good.
Okay.
I was teaching some music classes this morning and I was feeling pretty tired when I first got up, but as soon as I start getting into that environment and making music with little ones, it energizes me. So I'm feeling great.
Okay, good. That's what we want. That's the kind of energy that we need to bring to this particular episode of fun and laughter and joy and wintertime. I was gonna say springtime. I was like, nope, that's not it.
Yeah.
We're not in that part of the season. I've been listening to your music this afternoon. And I've listened to it before. I mean, obviously when I find out about you and then I go and I listen, then I have to come back and then I'm going to listen again. So
Yeah.
I've been having a very enjoyable get ready time with Shannon Dooks. It's been really lovely. And of course you have a Christmas song out right now that is just so lovely. And you have worked with one of my favorite interviews, which was Roseanne.
Oh, yeah.
There's a whole story behind that particular interview, but she was a pleasure and delight, as I'm sure you know.
Oh, yes. And I listened to that interview. It was amazing. It was so lovely.
I'm so glad you liked it. It's always like when they listen to it, it's like, are you feeling like you're getting what you want from it? Because of course,
Oh, yeah.
it's a different experience for me because I don't know, but I have no expectations other than just to have a good time.
I learned new things about Roseanne.
Really?
It was great. Yeah.
Oh, I
They're
love
playing
that.
the violin on the side, like a little strum. How adorable is that? Come
so
on.
Cute. The industriousness of Roseanne Baker Thornley it will never cease to amaze me. Her story was incredible. And I got to talk to her twice for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a lot of information. So the second time around, I was like, okay, I want to make sure I pull this and that. Anyway, but this particular interview is about you. So what I like to do is I like to go back to the very beginning because it's a very good place to start. Every pun intended there. Tell me about your relationship with music when you were young. What was playing? Who was playing it? Like, what got you interested?
Well, my first love with music, I've always been a singer. I've always loved singing. It's just, I can't even remember the first time I did it or when it first happened. It just feels like I came into the world and was asking for voice lessons. I was like, I need to sing.
I totally get that.
Oh, it just filled my soul very early. And I grew up in a church environment, so we were singing at church. So I was using my voice a lot weekly, even before I got into music lessons, all that stuff. But the two artists playing the most in my house were our Canadian superstars, Celine Dion and Shania Twain. And I used to think
I feel like a woman.
Oh man, Shania Twain was my first concert.
Really?
Yeah, they are like shining stars in my beginnings because they were just also such amazing singers. Like I'm so attracted to good singers and they're just so amazing at their craft and in their own field, in their own lanes. And I used to play their CDs all the time to the point where I, in my little kid brain, thought, you know what, today I need to give Shania and Celine a break. They've been singing for me a lot. Like I thought they were in the stereo singing to me. And I was like, you know what? I need to give them a break.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me, when you went to the Shania Twain concert, how old were you? Who got the tickets? How did all that happen?
I think I was 8.
Perfect
I was
age.
pretty young. My dad got the tickets. He got 4 tickets and 2 were closer and 2 were further back. So I got to sit with him closer and my sister and my mom were towards
you non-real fans get in the back.
But I just remember seeing her on these big TVs in front of me. And I remember this moment very clearly because there was someone in the audience who was close-ish to my age that had a sign up and said, Shania, can I sing with you? And Shania brought that little girl on stage. And I'm like, why didn't I think of this? And it was just like one of those.
Not that we don't want that person to have, oh God, yes, the envy.
you know, happy for them, happy for them. In my adult life, I'm like, you go get it. That's awesome. But just seeing her in person on stage in like a sparkly little outfit, it was just, it filled my soul and I just had the best time.
I mean, did that help solidify, like, okay, now if this was my show, then I would want this, or I wouldn't want that, or were you just thinking she just must have the most magical life that she gets to sing?
I think I just really admired the fact that she was in the center of this massive room singing to so many people and that we're all there for her. It was I remember that resonating with me even at a young age where I'm like, what a gift it is to be able to invite so many people into a space and sing for everybody. I was like, that's got to be like the best feeling in the world. And just so fun. She looked like she was having a blast up there too. And I was just like, yeah, I want to be up there too.
Oh, I love it so much. So mine was Sandy Patty. I don't know if you knew who she was.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
grew up at the church, you might.
Mhm.
And so I remember going at about that same age and thinking, this is the magic. Like,
Oh, yeah.
this is amazing.
Mhm.
I don't know that I quite had an itch to be. I just didn't think that was possible. It
Mm.
seems like a really far away thing to be. So when you first decided, okay, I think I want to be a singer, were you thinking I want to be a singer-songwriter? Were you thinking I wanted to be a performer?
Mm. You know what? I started doing voice lessons when I was 4 years old. And yeah, my
I didn't
teacher
even know
that
they
was
did that. Well,
I
I
know.
guess. Okay, that makes sense.
The
4.
way my mom tells me is I was begging for it because I saw people singing. I'm like, and I was singing all the time. That she was like, what do I do with this child? She needs to sing. And so we knew someone who was a vocal teacher sort of within our family and friends. And she reached out to her. She was like, I've got this 4-year-old. She's got to sing. And she was like, I've never taken a student that young. I don't know what to do with her. And so my mom would give her song ideas, and it was all simple, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and songs that were relatively familiar to me, but that we could expand on. And I was with that teacher for 11 years.
Wow.
And she got me primarily I was a singer first. I was definitely I was doing like Kiwanis competitions and festivals and singing in church and singing here and there, but it was all songs that were given to me. And I just loved singing so much.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until my early teens where I started to write music and write songs. And I had my own keyboard and I was starting to play with chords. And I was a kid and teenager with lots of big feelings. And
All the feelings.
yeah,
It's so
and
hard to be a teenager.
it is. And, you know, my parents were going through a divorce at the time. There were lots of
Oh,
just things going on where I was really needing like an outlet to be creative and sort of wrestle with my feelings a little bit. And the
right.
best way for me to do that was putting it into song. Is that the first song I wrote was when I was probably 11 or 12, 11 or
Mhm.
12. Um, and that was just the start of it, just the beginning. And I played around with so many things, so many different like melodies and ideas, but all the while I'm singing throughout it all.
Now, did you take piano lessons or were you just okay?
I went to the same teacher that was doing voice lessons with me. She also did piano. But I got really frustrated with the reading of music and connecting it to my fingers. I'm like, just teach me chords and then I'll play around with it myself.
I
So,
like that.
but she gave me the like the fundamentals of understanding the instrument, understanding the notes and how it works and the chord structures, and I kind of ran with it and started playing myself. So, I'm not entirely self-taught, but I definitely knew what I wanted to do with the instrument.
So
And
do you play by ear?
a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I can usually figure things out
Yeah.
with a little bit of time. I'm not instant, but I'm
Still
okay.
playing by ear. I'm
Yeah,
not
sure.
instantaneous either, but I can. I'm
Mm.
like, hold on. And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Oh, there it is. There it
Yeah,
is. Got it. Got it. And it would
Sometimes
take
it's
me a
just like,
while, but
"Da, da, 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 da."
hold on, hold on. I know what that is. I know what that is. Hold on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no perfect pitch in it. Yeah, not exactly those people that listen to this song for 30 seconds. They're like, I can play the whole song now. Hold on. And then they play it and you're like, gee, come on, show
That blows my
off.
mind. I know that is. It's showing off.
Not a show off. It's always a dude too. You know what I mean? It's like, watch this magical thing that I can do. I was like, I could do that too if I did it all the time and did nothing else.
Yeah, it's truly.
They really do. Like, boys can really get into, I don't know if girls are just, I mean, they're different, right? But I don't know if they're just have more interests, but it seems to me that when men go at 14, I have an interest in this thing, they do it 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
But we're like, I also have a sleepover and I'm going to go to prom.
Yeah.
I had a boyfriend for a little while and we have like spurts of being like really dedicated and in it, but not at that, always at that same level. I mean, you know, this is a real large generalized statement, but
I see what you're getting at, because I relate to that. I definitely like singing, and music has always been like my main thing, but it was like, but I've got a sleepover and I wanted to be with my friends and like do this and that and all this kind of things, and with that comes a lot of stories, so it's kind of like,
right, you
in a
gotta
way,
have it.
a workaround way, it's still contributing to what I do, but it's not a live
It's
and breathe
necessary
everything.
for the storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, when you first started writing songs, and you said angsty teenager and divorce, all the good components of a great, good, sad song,
Mm-hmm.
to pull at the heartstrings, which is, I mean, it's what we all want,
Yeah.
whether it's a gooey love or broken love. I don't know what the other songs are about. Somebody said the other day, I saw something on TikTok where they were talking about how, you know, everybody acts like, you know, it's either about love or it's about losing love. And I'm like, is there something else that music is about?
Yeah.
Sometimes Christmas.
Sometimes.
Sometimes Christmas with people that we love. I don't understand what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Maybe ourselves and the development of ourselves. I'll give you that.
hmm
But the
but then
development of myself is.
it's just about love for yourself then.
I'm
In a
just.
way,
I'm
it is
saying.
always love.
I'm saying it's somewhere in the developmental stages of either loving myself, stop loving you, started loving you, don't want to love you. Maybe I should, you know, and on we can go. But okay, when you were in this period of writing songs, what part of it did you find easier, or was it all like, okay, this is a real learning process?
Mm. I would say it was always easier for me to play around on the piano first and find a melody that I was starting to connect to and resonate with. And then I would add voice. Because, funny enough, although I love singing and any kind of singing, I I have a very clear sort of structure in how I do it. So I don't play around so much with my voice until I know what I'm doing. And I also need, like, I also realized this very early, is that I need like the perfect sort of space and environment to play around and make mistakes and do the wonky weird chords and try the weird thing with my voice. I found the melody came easier to me first, and then it was about, okay, what about this melody makes me feel a certain way, and what's coming out of me in terms of words, and then how do I bring that into a singing melody. And it was, I don't know, it was just something I played around with when I had sort of the room to myself. My parents always like to tell me now that they would be listening in the other room and being like, and just really excited, but I really sort of needed to like zone in into myself, into my feelings, into what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it in terms of the sound, and sort of finding and figuring out what that is. And, you know, there's always kind of an ever evolving sound as an artist. It's like, where am I at in this stage of life? Where am I at in this stage of
Yeah.
life? And how it ebbs and flows and all that stuff. But yeah, I would say the things that would start usually was me just sitting at the piano and playing around.
Now, if your parents saw you kind of getting into that mode, would they go, okay, like, we know Shannon really doesn't like an audience when she's doing this. Would they kind of scatter to give you that space?
They
And
would
how
I
has it changed as an adult in your own home?
mm, they would either scatter, or my dad would sneakily pick the seat in the couch right behind me so I wouldn't know that he's there.
I love him for that.
I know, it's very sweet now. I'm definitely out of my angsty teen where I'm like, this is private. I need my space.
I mean, it is a vulnerable thing. And we've talked a lot about, what it takes to write a song and the vulnerability that comes with it. And sometimes you're saying something that you're not even 100% sure that you want to tell other people.
Hmm.
Like, I've sat there and written something and I was like, did you hear what I just said? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, this is a just for me song because I cannot tell anybody that that's what I really think about X, Y, or Z.
Hmm.
So, I mean, maybe not as much angsty teen as just like this is the beginning of me learning how to be vulnerable with myself. And that's scary to do in front of other people, especially when you're that young and a little unsure of, you know, who you are. So
Yeah.
now that you're an adult, do you have to have a room? Are you still just as private in that process?
I do like a bit of space, but I'm not so precious about it anymore. And also, I've also really learned that I like writing with other people and actually bouncing ideas off of someone else. I think when I was first starting, it was very insular and like a feelings outlet. Whereas now it's more of a creative process, which I really enjoy bringing people into. And it's not for everybody. It's not a wide open door, but it's like, hey,
Right.
you know what? I'd love to write with you. And even writing with Roseanne, was kind of like we were getting to know each other, and I was like, you know what? I can trust this person. I can
Yeah.
trust her. Let's get into a room. And sometimes, when most of the time, most of the people I've worked with, they make it better. They make the song better. They add their unique sort of flavor to things, and it's a really special thing to share it with someone. So I'm a little less private about it now, but it's nice to bring people into the fold and also be like, hey, we did this at the end, and have someone that you can sort of like rub elbows with and be like, we
This
did
is
it.
cool. This is
Yeah.
cool. I love this. We did this. Can you
Hmm.
tell me about the first time that you did it though? How did you find somebody to write with? Um, and what was that experience the very first time that you're sitting down with somebody who's like, okay, we're really going to do this. We're going to write a song. Like, because I think a lot of people don't understand what it means to write a song. They're like, well, oh, this major hit that everybody loves in the world. Yeah, I wrote it in 10 minutes. It was amazing. We don't even know how it happened. It just happened. It's like, well, it did happen somehow. It's not like,
Yeah.
it's like it didn't go from batter to cake. Like, but it can feel that way. But people that don't write music, I feel like really don't understand.
Hmm.
You walk in and you say what, and they tell like what's everybody's role. So just tell me about your personal experience with when you just said, okay, I want to branch out. What made you make that decision and just kind of that process?
The first person I wrote a song with oh was one of my really good friends in high school, actually. His name is Nick Posthumous, and we were
Oh,
really
just
good friends starting in high school, but we didn't go to the same high school. We sort of we sort of met through like sort of passing ships doing like a gig and stuff like that, and then I went overseas to Australia. He went to school here. It was kind of a weird turning of things, and then we both landed back in Toronto. Um, and I just kind of tapped him and said, hey, like, I trust you. I love your guitar playing. I love making music with you. I love doing all of these covers that we've been doing, but like, why don't we try our hand at writing something together? And and he was totally on board. He was like, yeah, buddy, let's do it, kind of thing. And I remember it taking quite a bit of time. It was quite a special process because it was like, let's just get into a room. Let's play around with some ideas. What are we feeling? What do we want to write about? And
You're at somebody's house, you're in a studio,
we were in his girlfriend's basement apartment, who was away, that I was subletting at the time.
Okay.
So, basement apartment, I was staying there. He came over, and I had my keyboard in front of me. He had his guitar,
Okay.
and we just started talking. Mainly, we were just like, "What are we feeling? What do we want to talk about?" Um, which was a different process for me because usually I'm a jammer first. Like I
Yeah.
put my hand to the keys, but no, we started this process by just having a conversation, and we were talking about my feelings of being pulled in all these different directions, of being in Australia, being back in Oshawa where I grew up, and then being in Toronto, and feeling this pull back to a city even though I'd never really lived there before, and it was just kind of this strange feeling. And he was like, I understand it from this perspective. And so it was kind of like we were talking about the same thing, but from different lenses. And all of a sudden, he did this little riff on the guitar, and I was like, wait a second, what is that? What is that? And he was, and I was like, do it again. And I was like, that is awesome. And so we started chipping away. I think the first session we ever did was just lyrics and a little riff. And we left it. It was like 4 hours. We left it and we were like, this is a great start. Let's sit in this for a little bit. And it was kind of a couple of months, multiple sessions where we really took the time to tell the story that we wanted to tell. And it was the longest songwriting process I'd ever been in, but at the end, we finished writing the Muse, which we released only a couple of years ago. Oh no, last year. This year.
This year.
This year. But
Yeah.
we had been playing, then once we finished it, we went to an open mic night at the Grapefruit Moon, which we had been doing every Monday night for months. We did this song, and it was dead quiet in that open mic bar, which hardly ever happens. It's a group of friends that everyone's kind of chatting, everyone's listening and chatting and kind of thing, but it was like dead quiet. And we finished the song, everyone applauded, and everyone was like, you need to record that. You need to record that. And they told us that for probably close to 2 years. And then we got into the studio. Then now I'm telling this whole big story about the Muse, but it's like, it was kind of this first time writing with someone, a good friend, and it's become one of our most loved songs. And it's as you say, like, it's kind of a crazy happenstance where songs just kind of come out of nowhere and out of nothing. But for me, it takes the time that it needs.
Right.
I am not a rush through the song, let's get it done. No, let's do it right. And he was the same way. So that was my first real songwriting experience.
So you waited a bit before you did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because your first EP came out in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I write down the name of it? I'm sorry, I have the names of the songs written down: Inside Out, Drought, and Talk.
It's just EP. Yeah.
Oh, it's just called EP.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about when you started to write for that particular set of songs, and where were you? What were you doing? What was going on?
So after I was born and raised in Oshawa, Ontario, which is an hour outside of Toronto. It was a very small town, though it's grown huge. But as soon as I graduated high school, I was like, I'm out of here. I need to go somewhere else. And I chose Australia, the farthest place you can go. So,
like, you were going to go to school, or you were just going to go live?
I was going to school.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, what's your sibling situation in your household?
I am, I would say 2 years older than my sister. She would say 18 months older than my sister. So very close.
Yeah, that'll change when you're 50. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
You'll be like, no, it's like 18 months and 3 days. So it's
Yes.
not that much more. It's like,
Yeah.
you'll be there in 15 seconds. Okay. So you're the oldest of two.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's the independence. And you were living with mom or dad? Who were you
We
living with?
did
Back and
every
forth?
other week. We did a lot of back and forth.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. I'm just sorry for that. I know everybody thinks that that is the most ideal thing, but it just makes you feel like you don't have a home.
It was a little like living out of a suitcase, but
Right.
I mean, we were also very lucky that both of our parents wanted us around, so they wanted to
Right.
share. So I
Right.
consider myself lucky. And it made me comfortable with traveling and living out of a suitcase. So,
Okay. So what made you think of Australia?
I had heard people talk about it. Like, I can't even really pinpoint exactly. I know my cousin had been there and some other sort of loose friends had been there, and it just sounded like this amazing, cool place that didn't feel entirely foreign, still speaking English, relatively similar culture, but just so wildly different in terms of like environment and, well, you're on the other side of the world, and when it's summer it's winter and everything's upside down. It was just kind of like, what is this place? And so I went over there and I started going to school, and I was doing music. I was doing music teaching, and then I did a musical theater degree.
Ooh.
And so that's a great love of mine as well, but it was also a time where I was completely out of my environment that I had known for so long, in a place that was kind of a clean slate for me. And it was kind of this new exploratory environment where I was like, I'm in a new place. I'm very far away. I'm by myself and just kind of going along for the ride. And I started writing again, and I wrote my 3 songs that were on my EP, Talk, Drought, and Inside Out. And it was kind of this wild sort of mesh of like being at my first school and being in a band there, and we were doing like wedding gigs and doing all these like funny gigs where it's like you kind of laugh at it later, where it's like, what was that bar, what was that event? But it was so fun because we were all just pals making music, and it was just so fun. And so I got some confidence in being sort of a front man of a band and being a lead singer with so many instruments behind me. And yeah, I would just kind of go to my dorm room and start tinkering with things again. I started writing on pads of paper and finding a keyboard wherever I could. We had these rehearsal rooms because I was doing music teaching at the time. So there was some pianos that I would just rent out for the day or an afternoon or something like that. And it was so nice. There was lots of resources there. And yeah, just started exploring some writing again in a completely different mindset and environment, where I'm a bit older. I'm like 18, 19. I was in Australia for 5 years, and I wrote, recorded, and released my EP all while I was over there, completely independently. It was crazy.
Look at you. Wow.
Hmm.
Okay, if you had to describe yourself to someone as a person, give me your. I know this is a real easy. I know you think about this a lot. You're always contemplating these kinds of thoughts, but I mean, it may take you a second. We'll come up with some things, but give me 3 words that you would use to describe yourself.
Mm. The first one that always comes to mind, and is something that is very deeply rooted in me, is I know and love the fact that I'm kind. I like being good to people. I like meeting people. I like spreading kindness. Second thing, I'm a yes person. I like to try things. I like to embrace the opportunities that are thrown my way. I will make the time for most things because I just want to do it all.
Experience.
So yeah, experience. And 3, I think I'm pretty fun.
Okay, so that tells me. Okay, then that's the reason why I asked you. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you tell me what it is that you think it is about you, because I'm going to tell you that you are a person who is unafraid to be 18 years old and go halfway across the world, literally, if not more than, I don't know, I'm not great at geography, and be so brave and bold to go, okay, yeah, not only will I do that, let me get some people, let's do some music. Yeah, I'm going to write some songs. Yeah, I'm going to record them. Yeah, I'm going to release them. And mom and dad are going, what is going on? Not only is she thriving without us, like, she's just doing it.
Yeah. You know what? I'm very, very lucky that my parents have been incredibly supportive of my endeavors. Have they agreed all the time? Do they wish I had more stability? Perhaps. But also, they just know that that is like what fills my soul. And you know, it's crazy, you know, even you saying it's like it's so brave and like all of these I had friends in Australia being like, you know, I don't think I could do what you're doing right now. I don't know if I could go halfway across the world and do what you're doing. And I'm like, you could, you know, like I
But
think you
I
could.
think it's super important. You know, this is why I love doing this so much. I think it's super important for people to hear other people's stories because you don't know what you're really capable of doing. Like, you didn't know. Honestly, you didn't really know. You could have gotten out there and been like, after 2 weeks, like, this is some bullshit. You know, I don't want to ride a kangaroo, and these spiders are larger than my head. Or like, I don't know what's going on, but that's what I think about Australia. I think of really aggressive kangaroos and very large spiders.
Yeah.
And you could have gotten out there and been terrified and decided to go home, but you didn't. You didn't. 5 years, like, that's a real commitment
Hmm.
to, I mean, that's a commitment to a rental house in your hometown.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a serious amount of time to pretty much spend anywhere. And as a young person, and then to accomplish some things, it's like, hey guys, if y'all think that, number one, that there's only one way to do a thing, again, you're wrong. Number two, if you're gonna do the wild and crazy stuff, just do it right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just do it and just figure out the rest of it.
Truly.
Just figure it.
Truly.
Look, you can figure it out. Like, you
You
can
can.
do it. Like, here we have an example right here in front of us. Shannon went to Australia from a tiny little town in Ontario. It was
Yeah.
like, bye guys, I'm going with the kangaroos. I'm
Yeah.
not afraid of spiders. You know, like, it just did it. I think that it's so incredible. And though you may not have felt brave, you were. You were.
I guess I can look back and say that it was a brave thing to do. I guess it was also something that I was looking at my hometown. I'm looking at the people around me. They're all going to the same places, the same careers. It's all kind of like set out for them. And I was like, I don't know. I think there's more out there. I just
There
think there's more
is.
options. Like, why not try something just completely different? And I don't know, it's kind of always been in me too. I'm like, I want to have a unique path. And that's why I'm like, yes, I'll try this. I'll try that. Like, whatever. Well,
Yes,
like you
I'll be
said,
on a podcast where 12 people are listening.
yes, yes, no, it's great. It's great. But no, it's great. I get to talk to you, and it's cool. I love being able to
Connect.
also
So
hit
let's
other
let
little
us
segments of
connect. Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Okay, what were mom and dad doing? Were they like teachers and doctors, or
My dad was a teacher at my high school, which was
got your eyes
great
cold?
for dating. Which
Oh,
no, no.
oh, I can. Oh, that just hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a phys ed teacher.
Okay.
Um, my mom is a nurse practitioner.
Yeah,
So
I
my
called it.
sister,
I did. I mean, not doctor, but nurse.
yeah, you did.
Very stable positions,
Yeah. She
and
she really did not understand my creative desire to pursue it in terms of a career. She was
yeah,
very
it's like,
much
do that as
like,
a hobby, honey,
yeah,
because, then you could do that on the weekends. You can do all the open mic nights that you want.
mm-hmm, yep,
This
yeah.
is too scary, babe.
I
This
know.
makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm like, I get it,
I want to.
mom,
I
but
want. I want to know where your paycheck's coming from. Where's it coming from? It's like,
yeah. Yes.
it's gonna be great. You like my new song? You're like, yes. It's so
I
good.
can get it. I understand. I understand the concern from her, but again, she always kind of put it out there. She's like, "Are you sure? Because there's stability in something else." But I understand.
Yeah. I mean,
And
she
even
put you into
though,
voice lessons at 4, so I'm gonna, if anybody's to blame, really,
yeah, it's mom.
she started it young. It's really, Mama Dukes, I just want you to know, or I
Yeah,
don't know if that's her last name or not, but you it's really your fault. So
yeah,
sorry. You
yeah,
set her up at 4 years old. Like who? I mean, when you're 4 years old, what do you want to be? I want to grow up. I want to be a princess. I want to grow up and I want to be a mommy.
yeah,
I want to grow up and be a teacher. And she was like, no, I want to be a singer.
yeah.
And you said okay. And so therefore the dream lives on.
Yeah, and she drove me to all of my performances. My dad too, but
Yeah,
she was like nothing but supportive in getting me on those stages, and
I love
it
it.
is her fault.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, but I feel like you pushed me to do this. I feel
Yeah,
like you're kind of a stage mom and
oh,
you're
she'll
just
love it.
dragging me everywhere. Please don't let her send me hate mail. I'm a mother of 4. I totally understand. I want my children to have stability, but I have the other thing. My son wants to be a voice actor, and I'm like I said,
Nice.
I literally I have a microphone and the thing in mommy's closet.
Yeah.
I'm you know, this is kind of like that, except not the same, but kinda. You
Mm-hmm.
could with the same
Yeah.
equipment. And he was like, yeah, no, I was like, okay, I'm just saying there's no other time like the present.
Mm-hmm.
Mom's 100 years old starting a podcast. So I think that you can, at 23, come on. And
Yeah.
all I'm asking for them to do is like, please, I'm trying to get him to travel the world just so desperately. Like,
Yeah.
please get out there because, and I'll let this be a question because I'll keep rattling on like we're sitting in a cafe and people are going to be like, are you not going to ask her any questions? Um, what do you think was your biggest takeaway, before you tell me about what you moved on from Australia, but what do you think your biggest takeaway was from that experience?
It was really it was a powerful thing to be so independent and by myself outside of my outside of my hometown. I really learned who I was, what I believed, how I navigated new connections, the world in a totally different light. And I know that that can happen for a lot of kids who go to school or whatever, and kind of being out of their environment, but I also didn't get to go home on the weekends to see my family. It was once, maybe twice a year if I was lucky to go home and see them for Christmas or whatever. And I think my biggest takeaway was I really just got to know myself. And it was really cool, and I felt like I had the freedom and space to really explore what that was for me, even like doing my musical theater degree, like I loved singing, but this was dancing now too, and it was just kind of like, wow, I can do all of these things, and I'm not influenced by anyone else in the room, by anyone else in my community, by anyone else. And although everyone was cheering me on from across the ocean, it was kind of like, I love you guys, but I'm loving getting to know myself. And it was I still credit Australia to being a big sort of pinnacle shift in the arc of Shannon, of
Yes,
just really, again, it was brave to be there, but I got confidence when I was there too.
for
It was
sure.
That was huge for me.
I
Huge.
went on a journey in the last several years in search of what makes a person confident. Like, what are the things? It's not, having great hair. You have great hair, by the way.
Thank
It's not, being good at your makeup or being a certain size
you.
or wearing certain clothes or having a certain amount of money. What I came to realize after asking a bunch of people in my life, it was confidence comes with doing hard things.
Yeah.
And after you do the hard thing and then you go, I did that.
Hmm.
Oh, I wonder if I could do this other thing. And then you go to do that other thing and you're like, oh, well, I could do that too. And,
Yeah.
and then as those things kind of roll and go, then you're like, yeah, I'm unlimited. That's what I was singing that in my head as you were talking.
Oh,
I'm unlimited. Like there's nothing that I would imagine you felt that way. Like, okay, like what else?
yeah.
Okay,
You
so what made you decide to leave Australia and what came next?
Well, before I answer that, it's funny you said that, like, you can do hard things, because that's been kind of a mantra of mine, like, since Australia, is like
Yes.
whenever things are like getting weird or hard, it is something I whisper to myself, like, I can do hard things. I can do hard things. And yes, sure, they're hard, as we say, but like you can do it. And
I
yeah.
think that sometimes we want things. I've talked about this several times in previous episodes, about what kind of student you have to be to learn an instrument, what kind of writer you have to be a good writer, what kind of what level of vulnerability you need to be able to be your most authentic. So all these different things don't come as easy as we would like them to,
Hmm.
but I don't think that's the answer. I don't think that's really what we need to be looking for. Like, what's the easy way? Okay, so if I make 3 TikToks a day and I figure out how to get a good hook, and then I get a viral song, and then I could be a pop star. I was like, well, but you're missing all of the beautiful parts of the journey.
Hmm. Yeah.
That poor Chapel Roan right now is like, this is not what I signed up for. It's like,
Oh yeah.
right? Yes, I get that. And people are like, well, it's so hard to be famous and rich. I was like, okay, well, it is hard to be famous.
It is.
It, because what she wants is to be a singer
Hmm.
and to relate and sing to the people that are her audience.
Yeah.
She didn't want fame.
Yeah.
I think it's a very small percentage of people that want fame. They
Yeah.
just want a larger audience to
Hmm.
share with this
Yeah.
thing that they're so excited about and that they love so much. So
Hmm.
the hardness of each little step of, the open mic nights and the not making any money, and then watching your little stream list and being like, oh, 3 more people listen today. That's nice. And just
Yeah.
enjoying that because, yeah, it's okay if it's
Yeah.
hard. If
Yeah.
it doesn't come easy, that's okay because what the hard stuff made you
Yeah.
was confident.
Hmm. And it's the little joys along the way
Yeah.
also. It is. It's the 3 more listeners. When I
Yes.
watch my Spotify for artists, I'm like, oh, some more listeners. 4 this week. It's like, that's awesome. It's cool. Like they are their little wins. Take them where you can.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's so true. There's the side effects of fame and the
Right.
music business and all of the stuff that goes along with it, but like at the root of it, I still love singing, and that's
Yeah.
that's my love. That's what I'm going to continue
Right.
doing. No matter what it looks like. I don't need to sell out a major stadium if that's not where my path is, but if I can sell out this really cool smaller venue and have a room full of people that want to hear me, that's a win. That's awesome,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Okay.
I
I just love it so much.
know.
I love the stories. I love the journey. I
Mhm.
do hope that, when people listen, because my goal is not for this to just be a rundown of every song you've ever done. I mean,
Mhm.
we can do it. I know it's interesting to some people. I just don't find it that interesting. Um, you telling me what every song, some people do like that, and I will do that with certain people if that's what they really want to do. If you really want to talk about each song and the motivate. I want to know about you. I want to
Yeah.
know what your motivation is. I want to know, like, what got you, like, why are you running so hard in this direction? Why
Mhm.
does it feel so good to you? Okay,
Mhm.
so you're in Australia. You're boosted up with some confidence.
Mhm.
You're feeling good.
Yeah.
What then?
I ran out of visas in Australia, but I will say it felt like the right time to come home because you know, I do. I do and I did. I loved Australia. It was an amazing chapter in my life, but I did feel the pull to come home. This is where family is. This is where, you know, realistically too, when I was thinking, you know, about my music career and where I wanted to take things, North America was the place to do that. Like Australia is kind of its own little island. And though
Yeah.
there are great things and great artists and actors and all kinds of people that come
Right.
from Australia, it is a little bit of a bubble over there. And
Yeah.
so
Insular.
it felt, yeah, insular. And so it felt like I needed to come home. And um it did kind of feel like it was great. It was nice to be back with family, back in with some friends and all that jazz, but it also felt a little bit like starting again because yeah, I had all this confidence, but it was coming from a different place and I didn't want to bring that to my hometown because that didn't feel right, but it was of course where I landed when I got back. But I was like, I got to get to Toronto. I got to get to the city. I got to find a little apartment and start getting out there and finding people. And that's when I reached out to Nick, and it was great to have him here and already kind of established in Toronto so that he could be like, yeah, go to this open mic, come to this concert, meet this person. It was kind of like, it was a nice sort of, here, I'll take your hand and bring you into this music
It was
industry. It was great.
super nice to
Yeah.
have somebody kind of taking you through.
Hmm.
Um, one of the things that I find, um, I mean, daunting, yes, but the open mic nights, and I know that you had done plenty of singing in lots of different places. Was it different doing it in Canada than it was in Australia? Was it something that you were always comfortable doing? Did you have to find your comfortability in it? What was that process like for you?
It felt different because it was different people, but it was like there was kind of, it was almost like there was this string between like the people I was making music with in Australia to the people I was then making music with in Toronto. Um, my connection also with more of like that open mic environment in Australia was more musical theater than it was, you know, my personal music, even though I was doing that in Australia too. I was doing it in more like bars and places where my friends had connections. Um, but coming to Toronto, it was different but familiar. It's like there really are these pockets of artists and musicians all over the world that you can kind of be like, "Oh yeah, I can slip in here no problem." And it was it was a shift in that I was finally making new friends in Toronto, which was cool. And Nick sort of brought me into those rooms and environments, and you know, of course, we're all in a band now from open mic night. All of us that are in the band now are from that open mic night. So it's been a long sort of journey, but yeah, it was different and the same all at once. It was very similar. It felt comfortable. It felt like I was just easing right into things.
When the pandemic hit, did you come back before the pandemic?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was what, 2018, 2019?
I was back here end of 2016.
Oh, okay.
2016. So I was
So
in
you had a
Toronto.
couple of years before the pandemic said, you can't sit in here without.
Yeah. Yeah. The pandemic was a real turning point, but even then, it's since we had this open mic night established, I actually ended up doing like an open mic night online with a friend of mine. My friend Francesco and I, we did what we called the Quarantunes festival, and we got we got all
Tell
of
me you have a musical theater background without telling me you have a musical theater background.
yeah.
That's fantastic. That is so great. I'm sorry.
No,
That's awesome.
it was really cool.
That is totally giving me what's the movie with Anna Kendrick? What am I not thinking about it?
Oh, like Pitch Perfect.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's like one of the
yeah.
what are they called? Oh my god, that's so great. Okay, Sorry, the name just totally threw me off. That's
Okay.
adorable.
It was so
Oh,
fun. We did it once a week, and then we ended up doing it twice a week because we had so much interest. We would do 3 artists in an evening, and we would do it on Instagram Live, and we would tap on all of our friends from the open mic, but then word would spread, and we were starting to reach out to so many different people that even after the pandemic had sort of subsided and we were back into these rooms again, I was like, "Oh my goodness, you came on my show." And you came on Quarantunes, and it was
oh,
like it was kind of this continued community, which was really special and really cool.
oh my God, I love that. Quarantunes. Maybe, do
Quarantunes.
we have t-shirts? Should we?
Actually, we made one for each other, the owners, but we didn't
I
actually
love that. No, there
make
should have
that.
been merch.
Yeah,
People would have been out left and right. Look at it. What is that? Oh my God, you should totally get on. It's the most amazing thing. It's happening in Canada right now.
right now.
While you're at home,
Yeah.
please. I would have loved that. I don't know why I didn't come across that. So Quarantunes, I'm never gonna stop saying it. It's I may name the episode Quarantine. No, I probably
Perfect.
won't. It's tempting now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been trademarked.
Yeah.
Or copyrighted or whatever you have to do to the name of an online musical show. That's so great.
Yeah.
But it's gonna get stuck. Okay, so again, after Quarantunes, where was your head at? What was the plan at that point?
Well, even prior to the pandemic, was when I was starting to get into the circle of Roseanne Baker Thornley and Ben Pelchat and Will
Mm-hmm.
Scholar and the
Mm-hmm.
Kensington Sound crew. And I remember getting, it was such a roundabout way that we got connected. I was teaching music classes to families at the classes that I still teach to this day, which was really wonderful. But there was a dad in one of my classes who works in radio, and he was like, "I have a friend who was Ben Pelchat. Um, that has a studio in Kensington Market, and I really think that you guys should meet." And so I started going there, and I started hanging out with these guys and these music makers. He's like, "You've got to meet Roseanne, and you've got to meet this person, and here we're all doing this show, and you should perform." And so I went. This was in Milton, on the other side of Toronto. We did this show, and Roseanne was there, and she tapped me on the shoulder afterwards, and she was like, "I've been hearing about you, and I've heard your set, and I think we should talk. I would love to work with you." And it was kind of like I've been hearing whispers about Roseanne, and I was like, "This is really cool. This is awesome." And so, yeah, we met, we started writing, and I actually had written some songs already that she was like, "You know what? I love what you have here. Do you mind if we work on it a little bit?" And I was like, "Sure." And there's kind of always this feeling on the inside of just like, I really like my song. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
It's like they're your little babies, right? Like they're
Right.
just kind of going back to my teenage years where it's that vulnerability.
Right.
But she instantly put me at ease. She handled my songs with such care, such warmth, and she made them better. And yeah, all of this was happening like prior to the pandemic. Um, and we just started getting into the room pretty regularly and writing and doing these things and that. And so during the pandemic, I had done some recording for some of the songs she had written, and we were sort of stuck in this vortex of what is going on and stuck at home. And she's like, "You've recorded that song for me, Doubts, and would you like to release it under your name and use it as your song?" I was like, "I love that song. Yes, please." And she was like, "I know we're still writing and going through the motions of getting your stuff out there and fine tuning things and getting into the studio. We can't do that now, but you know what? This is a great test run. We're all stuck at home. Let's put something out there." And so that's when I released Doubts, was during the lockdowns, and it was so well received. It made me so happy and so proud to start releasing some more music under my name, and something that Roseanne, really had her hands in. And I was honored, truly. I was honored that she wanted to sort of lend this song to me, and I then we started kind of continuing to work even online on Zoom. Everything just got really accessible on Zoom and long distance and working online and stuff. And we started still writing our songs. And now we've got a whole catalog ready to go and be released in the new year. So it's kind of been like this slow snowball of things, but it's like all of these kind of hurdles ended up being small gifts in a way, where it was like, you know what, we're going to roll with these punches. Again, we can do hard things.
Right.
And you know, it was kind of during that period where, like during the pandemic, where we started to really get my career back on track and more nosediving into the Toronto industry, which was cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In 2020, another thing that you did not bring up.
Oh.
Which I guess it came out in 2020. Maybe it was before then, because these things take time. You worked in some form or fashion. I don't know if you have writing credits or what happened with the Christmas in California with Snoop Dogg and Raph Pylon.
Yes.
Is that how you say his name?
That is how you say
it. Bless it if I say his name right. I mean, like, you know, coming in here and be like, sorry. No, that's not that. It's Rafe Pilon. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. You never know. You never know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Okay, so how did you get involved in that particular song?
Oh, that was a crazy, crazy happenstance. I still can't believe it to this day. So pre-pandemic, it would have been probably that fall or winter just before. We were in the studio with Raph, with Ben, with Will. I think Roseanne was in and out, but like it was like a room full of people. Earl Powell was also there. There was lots of people, and Raph was like, "I want to write a Christmas song," and we were like, "All right, let's do it." And we had these pizza boxes in front of us. We were like, we have no paper. What are we going to write on? We had pizza boxes. So I had a pizza box on my lap, and I started writing on this pizza box. And he was like, all I want it to be in California, and I have this dream that Snoop Dogg is going to be on it. I'm like, power to you. Best of luck.
Write it down.
Like, and I remember actually I had quite a bad cold at the time, and my voice was feeling a bit like raw and rough, and I had come up with this little phrase, which I ended up singing on the song. But so I went in, and it was like star on top of the Christmas tree. And I went into the studio, and they were like, put it down so you don't forget. And so I quickly did it, and I recorded it. I did my take, and they were like, all right, add a harmony. And so I quickly added a harmony, and they were like, that sounds great. I'm like, are you sure? I'm not feeling the greatest. And they were like, yeah, no, it's awesome. This is really, really cool. And then the pandemic happened, and like we had no idea what was happening. It was kind of this one like magical night in the studio where we kind of pieced this song together with so many people in the room. And then it was like a year. Yeah, it was the year later that I got a call from Ben, and he was like, okay, so you're never going to believe this, but do you remember that song we recorded in the studio that one day, the Christmas in California song? I was like, yeah, of course I do. And he's like, you know how you sang that part? We're keeping it. And I'm like, all right, I trust you. I trust you.
Okay.
And he was like, the next thing, you're not going to believe this, but we got him. We got Snoop Dogg to be on it. I'm like, you're kidding me. I was floored. I could not believe it. And it was just the craziest. Like, had I known I was heading into the studio that day, and then a year later we'd have a Christmas song out with Snoop Dogg, I wouldn't have believed you. But
it's so fun.
I
mean, I really like all the manifestation things where people are going, I want this, saying out loud in front of people, putting it down on the pizza box. I mean,
put it down on the pizza box. Yeah.
Hold on. Interview Harry Styles. Like, I'm just, it's gotta happen.
Heard.
It's gonna happen.
Yep.
Tell me about working with Daniel Caesar.
Daniel Caesar, he's an old friend of mine. We're both Oshawa kids. And we grew up in the same school, same street. Like, he was my neighbor, and we would play soccer together. and we would just hang out, but we were both these sort of musical kids, and we were constantly the ones that were performing in the school talent shows and doing this and doing that. Funny story, in high school, he's 2 years younger than me, or maybe 3, actually. He's 3 years younger. And we did a performance of The Sound of Music. And I played Maria. I was the title role. And he played one of the kiddos. He played one of the kids.
I love it.
There's a photo somewhere in the internet. It's out there. But I mean, I'm just so happy and so proud of him and all the work that he's done. Like, he's taken off in such a unique sort of niche for himself, and I've recorded more stuff for him that might be coming out soon. I'm not sure. I don't really know his timeline specifically, but no, he's a good friend, and I know he's kind of like off doing all of the fun, crazy things with so many cool people. But whenever he's home in Oshawa, we get to see Ashton, who we know and love. So it's like it's pretty special to see someone who's really launched. And it's always been a pleasure working with him. Like, we've had so many nights where he would just call me up and just be like, "You want to come over? I'm playing my guitar." I'm like, "All right, sure, I'll come over." We'll just sing, and yeah.
I love it so much. Okay, so your favorite person that you've ever collaborated with, and why?
Oh, that's too hard.
Oh yeah, no, you gotta single it down. You gotta hurt a bunch of people's feelings. Forget kindness. Be ruthless. And it could be favorite for a specific reason. That's how I get away with saying favorites. I have my favorite oldest daughter. I have my favorite youngest daughter. I have my favorite oldest son and my favorite youngest son. I only have 4 children.
That's perfect.
So it could be for a very specific reason. Maybe something really memorable that happened, or you can come up. You got it. You can come up with a reason.
Favorite collaboration, I think, would have to be. Doing the Muse with Nick and having our band come in, and it was just all of us buds in the studio, and it was just such a unique and cool front seat experience of really seeing a song go from writing and the long process of that, and then getting into the studio, and him being one of like my best friends from high school, what seemed like a lifetime ago, and to like really see the journey of where we came and where we're going, and to bring our band, the Soft Maybes, to really come in. And it was just such a fun experience. We were all in this in the studio, this home studio in Calabogie, Ontario, just outside of Ottawa. But it's essentially like a little cabin in the woods, and we all just got to jam and drink beers and to have a grand old time finally seeing this song to fruition, and now it's out in the world, and it's been a really cool front seat from start to finish. And I would say that the long haul of that collaboration has really been something special.
See, I knew you could pick a favorite. Take that, Snoop Dogg. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, we're gonna get into. She didn't know she was collaborating with you yet.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get into. I have a series of questions. I don't even know if there's 7 now. There is 7. 7 questions. I call them rapid fire questions. They're neither rapid, but they are in order.
Okay.
Succinct
Gotcha.
together, one after the other. Unlike the rest of this, which is mostly me talking and you getting to talk every once in a while. The first question is, tell me what your ideal vacation would be. Now, that could be a place or a thing you do, or both.
Ideal vacation. We've done it, and we're going to do it again, but differently. Earlier this year, my boyfriend and I did a van trip around Iceland, which was amazing. I'm a nature gal. I love exploring nature, and we're in talks of doing a very similar thing in Scotland next year. And I just think, like, it's my favorite way to see a place, and he's my favorite person to travel with. And just something about being in the van, bringing your stuff with you, and kind of moving across the country and seeing all of these beautiful places. That's my ideal is like Van, Nature, my guy, and that's the best.
Okay, make sure I'm tagged into that close friend circle on Instagram so I can see those pictures. That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I already know the answer to this question, but favorite concert ever? But you can change that if you need to. But and then a concert you'd like to attend.
Well, I mean, Shania Twain is the obvious answer, but I'm gonna think of another one. I mean, it's a very.
I mean, it was your first one, so it doesn't have to be your favorite ever. Although it was important.
It was important.
We love Shania.
We do love Shania, but you know what? Another really special one for me is I really, really loved this artist, Meg Mac, in Australia. But actually, you know what? I'm thinking of another one too.
We love you, Meg Mac. Sorry,
Meg Mac. I saw Meg Mac. I listened to her music so much in Australia. But then she came to Toronto and I got to see her in my hometown, which was really, really cool. And she is Australian and she came over and was in my town and she's just such an amazing singer. But honorable mention to Regina Spektor in the Sydney Opera House. I would say that was also very cool. Very cool. But Meg Mac and Regina Spektor. Okay. I think those are some pretty good ones. And who I'd love to see is Celine Dion. I got to see her. Yeah.
Did you watch her special?
I did.
Oh,
then I saw her perform at the Olympics and I cried.
I did too. I think we were all crying collectively like, we believe in you, Celine. We love it.
You did it.
Oh, she is a lovely woman.
She is a lovely woman.
Are there any mean Canadians?
Nah.
No naughty Canadians. Nobody that's going to end up that has been somewhere they shouldn't have been. Because there's a lot of nice Canadians.
They're pretty nice. They're pretty nice.
The Ryans.
The
Gosling. The
Reynolds.
The Reynolds, yeah. I'm a big fan of them. Okay, a overrated and underrated holiday.
I would say overrated. I would probably say Valentine's Day.
Okay, and why?
I think it's nice for the people who have someone.
Yeah.
I think people are doing a good job at embracing, the fact that one might be single and doing the Galentine's Day thing.
Right.
We're getting better at the Valentine's Day thing, but it also just feels like a bit of a money grab a little bit.
Yeah.
And it just gets expensive and I don't know, all of the things, it just feels very temporary. And I don't know, I just think there's other days where you can celebrate love that it's a bit more meaningful to the couple specifically or the people specifically. I don't know. And maybe,
I'll give you that. I feel like this is a very popular opinion. The people that are hating on the commercialism of Valentine's Day and the $200 dozen roses.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the pink and the red and the sparkle.
I do love the pink and red combo. I do love that too.
Big fan of it. Just love it. Wish I could decorate my whole house like that. Mm-hmm. I used to think I wasn't a heart person because I thought it was like really cliche and silly. And then like the logo for my proper fangirl stuff is a heart. And I was like, oh, I guess you don't feel that way because that's what you picked. Okay. All right. So I'm going to let that go. I think it's awesome. It's great. Okay. Underrated holiday that somebody should be giving more credit to because it's so wonderful. They just don't.
Honestly, I love a good St. Patrick's Day. I think it could be a bigger thing. I think it's really fun. I've had actually in Australia, they go big for St. Patrick's Day, but I find it gets kind of lost in the mix here.
You're the second person to say that, and I love this answer. Yeah, they have a completely different reason, I think, but I love it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Christmas has my heart in every single way. I love it so much. It'll always be my favorite.
I don't care what it's about.
Question. Yeah.
I don't care if it's Santa. I don't care if it's Jesus. I don't care if somebody was born in a manger or comes on a sleigh.
Yeah.
Thank you for red bows and glitters and trees
And the
and
lights,
songs. The
the songs,
songs.
the songs, such as "Oh Christmas Tree, Here We Are" by Shannon Dooks.
Ding, 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 ding. Love that plug. I'm sorry. What was it called again? What is the song?
Sorry, it's "Oh Christmas Tree, Here We Are" by
Yes.
Shannon Dooks.
Yes. Out now for your pleasure, your listening pleasure. I love it. Okay. What is a weird food combo or something that you indulge in that we should indulge in?
Oh, you know what? It's the Australian experience, but I love some Vegemite on toast.
Stop. I heard it tastes like feet.
No, no, but you got to do it right. You got to pick a good piece of bread, toast it, butter it, and it's the thinnest layer ever of Vegemite.
Okay. What
And
is in Vegemite?
you know what? It's just really salty, and I love my salt.
Oh, I do
So
too.
it's like I love salty things. When it's savory or sweet, I'm always going savory. And so it's like, I don't know, it also just reminds me of my time there. So it is a bit of a weird one, but
Okay.
I love it.
Okay. I have heard it tastes like feet, but I've never
It's
known
not for
feet to be
everybody.
salty. So I don't know. Not that I
Yeah.
taste feet. This is getting into a weird place.
Mm.
Okay. Vegemite on toast with butter. Okay. Um, what is the kindest thing anyone has ever said or done for you?
Mm. Kindest. Hmm. You know, of course, there's a lot of moments. I'm very lucky. Very lucky. I would say somehow, whenever I'm teaching my music classes and I'm feeling tired or something is going on, somehow it's like the universe nudges a parent to just kind of be like, go tell her, tell her what these classes mean to you. And I've had quite a few parents just come up to me after classes and just tell me how important it is that they're making music with their families and that I'm a big part of that. And so it's not necessarily one moment, but
Mhm.
it's a few moments, and it always happens at the right time. There's something that happens where it's like the universe just knows that I need it, and there's always a bit of a nudge. And I love hearing it every single time because I love being a part of people making music. It's like it's a big thing for me. So, and it's very special every single time it happens.
Love that you also are calling that to yourself as well,
Hmm.
allowing that to come into your space by
Mm,
saying that it always happens at the right time. I like that.
hmm. Yeah.
A personality pet peeve that you have, something that gives you the ick that other people do.
You know what really bugs me is when someone can't read a room, you know, where it's like they either dominate the conversation too much or they try and throw in a joke where it's just not necessary. It's like, I don't know, there's a certain energy that some people bring when it's like they come into the space and it's like all about them and not let's be here together, but it's like I'm here. And it's like, I don't know. It's a very specific thing because I can also appreciate someone who will like, bring the party and arrive
Right.
fabulously.
It's two very different things.
It's two very different things. It's a read the room thing. And I think that's the first thing that's coming to mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't like showy.
Yeah.
I hate a bragger. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not impressed.
Like good for you.
I never give them what they want.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you? I was like, oh, that's so impressive. My boyfriend has a yacht.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a yacht too? Mine's the biggest one in the world.
Yeah.
Mm. And we have 6 of them.
Oh
We own
man.
the ocean.
Mhm.
So basically, you're just renting space from us.
Oh my goodness, that's
Um,
good.
okay, what are your words to live by?
Words to live by. I think we're bringing it back to I can do hard things.
Yes.
I can do hard things.
That will be the name of the episode.
Perfect.
Um, okay. If I had to bring a song to someone and say, this is Shannon Dooks, it's a full representation of everything that she is right now. this is, if you want to know about her, this is the song. What is that song? Of yours, of course.
Right, right. Um, I've I think my heart's telling me better, better. My song
I like
better.
that one a
And
lot.
it's it's a very specific little window of my life, but I think it also tells you that, I'm not afraid to share what's happened in my life, and I'm very proud of the music video we made for it. It sort of taps into my acting bones
Yeah.
and really tells a beautiful story, and just the style, the way the music came together with Will Scholar, like it just, I think it is a really good representation of stylistically what I sound like as an artist, but also this kind of stories I want to tell. Um, and yeah, I think better. Mhm.
Okay. I like that. Lastly, where are we headed? What is the dream? What is the hope? What is the goal? What's coming
What's
for
coming?
Shannon Dooks?
Well, I'm releasing my album next year, which I'm very excited about. First longer album. It's not super long, but it's 6 songs that I am incredibly proud of. And the dream is just to be able to perform them live, and just fill some rooms, fill some stages, make music with my friends, and keep the music alive for as long as I can. I'm very, very happy to be back in Toronto, and just I want to make music. I want to sing, and yeah, I'm just really excited to release this album next year. It's been a long time coming, and that's what I'm really excited about in the new year.
Well,
Mhm.
I am excited for you. I first of all, or lastly, I want to just thank you so much for taking the time on a Saturday afternoon to sit down and chat with me. I
My
love
pleasure.
this so much, and I hope that all the rooms that you go in are filled with people who are genuinely as kind as you are, that give
Mhm.
back to you what you are giving to them, and that you continue to bless little families by helping them have music in their homes, because no matter what, it really, really matters. All the little teachers, it's gonna make me cry. It really, really matters. And thank you so much for being a part of today. And I do really hope that you just have the most blessed music career, and that you find all the spaces and rooms with just all the right people going forward. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. It was really such a pleasure to talk to you, and this was just incredibly lovely. It's I I just had a really great time, and you're lovely to talk to, and so thank you for having me, and thank you for your kind words. That was really lovely.
No, anyway, thank you so much, Shannon. I hope you have a great day, a great year. I look forward to hearing your music in the future.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. Bye.